Thank you everyone for joining us. My name is Savannah Bennett. I work for a program called Homegrown Hillsborough, and I'm going to be talking today about our mini grant, community development mini grant. Monica, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hey, everybody. My name is Monica Petrella. I'm the Homegrown Hillsborough coordinator, and I get to help support all of you guys in your hard work and see how we can help make a strong community food system.
So, all right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Can you see my slides here?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, great. I cannot see any of you, so if you're nodding along, I apologize. And if there's any hand raising, it does not show me. So we're gonna get started for our community building mini grant. So if you're not familiar, here's a little bit of background about Homegrown Hillsborough. We are a network of community members with the mission to grow a strong food system. We value accessibility, community well-being, choice, education, and stewardship. Our vision is an integrated food system that is diverse, reliable, and creates opportunity for active participation. And our partnership network is built to connect and engage people and organizations across all sectors of our community food system. The membership determines the direction of the network and creates projects and programs to influence food system development. So if you are not sure if you are a Homegrown Hillsborough partner, if you are on our online partner platform, you are a partner. And if you are not on there and you would like to join us, you can visit connect.homegrownhillsborough.com or platform.homegrownhillsborough.com and sign up that way to stay in the loop and become an official partner. So, like I said, our membership determines the direction of what we're doing. So last year, our members determined the topics for our working groups for this year. So our topics are economic development, food access, and food production. And these sentences here were determined by our working groups during their meetings as to define their working group. So they can have a quick one sentence description if someone says, "What's the economic development working group?" They help the network grow through cross-sector collaboration and enhance quality of life for Hillsborough County residents. Our food access group is a group that improves food access through increasing reliability, affordability, and familiar foods within our community. And our food production group is helping local producers to overcome challenges, making it easier to grow and sell food in our community. So the purpose of this mini grant is meant to support Homegrown Hillsborough partner projects as they align with the working group priorities in areas of food production, food access, and economic development. And it's for smaller projects that can be completed in a short period of time. So we kind of want to consider it seed money to demonstrate like proof of concept at a small scale, or to purchase and invest in something like training, material, equipments that you can use to accomplish larger goals in the future. And just to let you know, our working group meetings are open to the public and they're held monthly in person with a virtual option as well. And I'll talk a little bit about that a little bit further into the presentation. So these are the details of the mini grant. It is up to $2,000 per grant, so we only want you to apply for what you need. Each working group has about $4,000 to award, with $12,000 across the network, so that's quite a few grants here. All funds will be available on a one-time basis. 25% of your budget can be used for personnel, and anything more, you just need to justify it in your application. Applications can be submitted on behalf of an organization or a project team, but if you are not a 501(c)(3), you have to partner with one, or we can make an agreement to pay via reimbursement instead of giving you the money up front. So it's not limited to nonprofits. If you have like a for-profit business, you are still able to apply for these mini grants. The only thing we are not going to fund is individuals. So you need to have some type of business or organization, and you must operate in Hillsborough County. You don't have to be based in Hillsborough County, or you don't have to only work in Hillsborough County, but you have to do some type of operations in Hillsborough County and be serving Hillsborough County because we are homegrown Hillsborough. And I'll let Monica talk about the scoring here.
Yeah, so the scoring, we hope that we made it pretty easy. But so how scoring is going to be done is that the working group leaders are going to be the ones scoring these applications, as well as me, Savannah, and Dahlia in kind of a combination. We're going to be the ones ultimately evaluating the applications, using a rubric to score them, and then ranking them based on those scores. And so like I said, we're going to use a rubric. I'm going to review that in just a moment, just so you can see that it is pretty. It's, we're trying to make this as objective as possible, and so that also you can kind of know how to make a strong application. So the total scores out of all six, so the five working group leaders plus homegrown Hillsborough staff will be averaged, and then those scores will be ranked, and then funds will be distributed until the funds run out. So, like Savannah said, don't just apply for $2,000 because you want $2,000. If you want $600 to do an online training and get a certification, then apply for that. And then if you have the highest ranking, then we'll administer those $600, and then we'll go to the next one and administer the next amount of money until it runs out. And so we're going to review the rubric really quickly. Like I said, try to make it pretty simple. So that first link is the link to the priorities and goals. And so that is kind of a living document. The food production group hasn't finished their goals yet. Savannah's going to talk about that in a moment. And so there is still time to influence that if you'd like to. But when you access this rubric, that link will take you to the priorities and the goals. And then this rubric here mirrors the application. And so it's broken down into the question topic and then basically the ranking 0, 1, or 1, 2, or 3 points. Sorry, not 0, 1, 2, or 3 points. So I'm not going to go through all of them necessarily, but you can see like, an unclear description that's hard to follow. That's 1 point versus a project description that is thorough and provides a complete picture of the proposed idea. That's 3 points. And so Savannah, scroll down to like the priority alignment. So you'll see that there is something called priority alignment, and that is specific to the working groups. So each of the working groups have different priorities and goals. Their priorities are a little more broad, so something like food literacy, versus their goal is very specific. They want to host 4 events. So you can write for both the priorities or the goals. But the closer you get to those specific goals, the higher of the priority alignment, basically. And so it's up to you to basically in your narrative explain why the work that you are going to do or how you're going to use these dollars to ultimately help us as a network accomplish these goals. The network mission, vision, and values is what MVV stands for. And so in the application, we link to a document that states our mission, vision, and values. Savannah opened up this webinar by stating our mission, vision, and values. So our mission is to grow a strong food system. And so in your narrative, you should talk about how your proposal is going to grow a strong food system. The values include things like accessibility, active participation. And so you should write about how those things, how your work will ultimately kind of serve those different topics. As someone's asked, can we maximize our page or screen? We're actually just going to kind of quickly blow through this, but you'll be able to access this resource, and we're not going to read it all right now. And so this is just the rubric. So the budget, continuity in the application, which we'll review in a moment. We ask you to identify kind of future funding or how this project will live on outside of just this one time. And then if you want to scroll down, Savannah. And so these will be added up and it'll be a total out of 21 points. And then in addition to the rubric scoring, you are also eligible for partner points. And so we've kind of discussed these partner points before, but if you are unclear on them, now is the time to get clear. And so there's a video that we can send out or include in the link on the YouTube video when we post this. But basically, the more active you are in the Homegrown Hillsborough network, the more partner points you get. And so in your application, you are going to list all of the people and the organizations that they work for, and we're going to add up those partner points, and those are going to serve your application well. So the intent with that is that an organization that is very active in our network, that shows up to meetings, that helps determine our direction, that comes to events, that helps lead different initiatives. If they have a weak application, but they are highly involved, That is what we're looking for in Homegrown Hillsborough. We're looking to get everybody to the professional place where they can be successful. And so by taking the time out of your day to come and be part of this network and to grow the strength of our network serves you well. And so that's what those partner points are. And then at the bottom, you don't have to actually calculate the cost per person. We will calculate that. So in your application, we ask for a total budget, and then we ask how many people you think will be impacted. And so that's just a data point for us to kind of see how these dollars are being used. So like I said, this rubric will be it's already linked in the application, and you'll be able to access it and read through all the different grading criteria, on your own leisure. So that's that. Savannah, you're still muted.
I realized it right as you said it. Okay, so the next thing to talk about will be our important dates. So the application opens on June 23rd. That is this upcoming Monday. The Homegrown Hillsborough team will be available for questions until July 28th. That is a few days before the application closes because we do not want you sending me an email on August 1st at, 10 p.m. because I will not be checking my email. And if I can't answer your question, we're not going to make an extension for your application. So be sure to review the application and try to get it submitted ahead of time, just in case you have any questions. So like I said, we'll be available for questions until July 28th. And anything submitted later, we may or may not be able to get back to you before the deadline. So the application is due on August 1st at 11:59 p.m. We are going to notify awardees on September 1st, and then you have to spend your money by October 1st. It's a pretty quick turnaround, but it is a smaller grant. And so it's like we said, it can be like a purchase. You can be doing an event. I'll talk about some more examples later on, but we just have to spend that money by October 1st. And if you have questions about your timeline or if it'll work out, you can definitely talk to us about that. So these are the important dates for this mini grant. And so we have some working group meetings coming up because, as Monica said, with the criteria, you want to try to align with different working groups. And when you do your application, you have to pick which working group your project is going to align with. So we actually have the first meeting that's coming up is next week on Thursday, the food production working group. They are still determining their goals. So food access and economic development already determined their goals earlier this month, but food production has not. So if you are interested in helping form the direction of those goals, this would be a great meeting to come to. These are all hybrid meetings, so if you can't make it in person, you can log in online, and all of that information is on the online partner platform, but you have to go to the specific working group page. So if you're not part of it, you need to join it. If you have questions about that, let me know and we can add you to the group or show you how to join new groups. So that first meeting coming up next week is food production, and that's at the North Tampa Branch Library, which is right off Waters, or it's off of North Boulevard, right by Chamberlain High School. And then our July meetings are going to be for anyone who's interested in sharing your project with the working groups. So if you want to share your project, you're not sure how it aligns, or if you can align it a little bit better with the working group's priorities or goals, it would be great to have you come to the meetings. So the food access meeting is July 8th at Jimmy B. Keel Library. That's off Bears Avenue. Economic development is July 10th, so those are in the same week at the Entrepreneur Collaborative Center in Ybor City. And then finally, at the end of the month, we have food production back at that North Tampa Branch Library off North Boulevard. So if you want to maybe workshop your project, you want to talk to the working group, we'd really like to have people there so we can hear about your projects and see how you can tailor it towards the priorities and goals. And if you're interested in joining one of those working groups and you want to get on the agenda, I would appreciate if you let either me or one of the co-chairs know ahead of time so that we can allot an appropriate amount of time for people to talk. And, I don't say that each group gets 20 minutes and then 10 people show up and we actually only get 5 minutes each. So please try to plan ahead if you can. And like I said, you can also join virtually if you need to. So trying to make it accessible to everyone. And so once the awards are given out, there are a few reporting requirements. This will be more so discussed with the awardees, but you'll have to submit a report no later than November 1st. So that's a month after the funds are distributed. We're going to need a final budget, the impact, and future plans for the project. And then after you submit it, we'll have a meeting with you to go over the report and get some feedback from you. And of course, we want photos from any of your projects so that we can show off all of your hard work and successes. And then now we're going to go over the priorities and goals of the working groups. I can zoom in. I know this one is quite a bit smaller. So these are what are determined already. So for our economic development working group, their priority areas are infrastructure, business development, and innovation. And you can see some examples here. And then their specific goals are to identify and connect with 20 homegrown Hillsborough partners that produce food that are interested in participating in tracking and increasing their sales by 20%. And they need to identify 5 local retail outlets or restaurants to pilot a hyper-local supply chain. And they would like one of those to be in the East Tampa community redevelopment area. So, like Monica said earlier, the goals are really specific, but if you fit within the priority areas, that is still valuable to us. So don't feel like you don't fit the goals and you shouldn't apply. The priority areas are a little more broad, and we still would like to work towards those as well. We just wanted more specific goals so that we can measure them and get outcomes within our working group timeline. So then for our food access working group, their priority areas are food literacy, strengthening partnerships, and advocacy. And you can read some of the more specific items there. And then their specific goals are to identify a champion for the Healthy Neighborhood Store Initiative, and they would also like to support the Healthy Neighborhood Store Initiative by providing resources, opportunities, partnering with community gardens for affordable fresh food, and conduct cooking classes for nutritional and culturally appropriate foods. So by October of 2026, they want to identify a neighborhood store that is within a low-income, low-access area within the city of Tampa city limits. They want to identify 4 produce partners to supply local produce to that neighborhood store and host 4 cooking classes at or within half a mile of the identified neighborhood store. So those are their specific goals. Same thing, if you fit within the priority areas, that's totally acceptable as well. It just makes a difference in your scoring. And then finally, food production, their priority areas are education with internal focus on things like business management, and then an external focus on helping people find out what's available and really what's a good value for their dollars. And then they also want to focus on career training and transitioning into the workforce for food producers. And like I said earlier, their goals are going to be determined at their meeting next Thursday. So if you would like to be a part of that, please come to the meeting and we can create some solid goals. Okay. And here are just some sample project ideas for you all. So at the top, we have that goal, the goals from the food access working group. So here's some ideas for how we can help complete those goals. You could host an event at a neighborhood store, like a cooking class or a demonstration. You could conduct an informational survey. You could even pay someone to administer the survey. You could canvass at a local event, at like a farmer's market, or bring your community garden, bring a table to an event. You could post an ad to Facebook, anything like that. You could also pay for training. So you could train your team on how to do a food demonstration or how to do a cooking class so that you can serve that area. You could also utilize it for branding, purchasing outreach material and equipment that you can use to promote your organization, solicit donations, services, things like that. So maybe you just need a branded tent. Those are kind of expensive. That would be valuable if your organization is working towards these food access goals and priority areas. And then some ideas for the economic development goals. You can see the goal here at the top. You could purchase infrastructure needed for food production or sales at your community garden or farm. Like maybe you want to build a little farm stand, or you need to buy a mini fridge for your farm stand, something like that. Or if you want to build a community garden bed that's going to grow food specifically for retail outlets. Because, a lot of community gardens, everyone wants their own produce. So maybe you need a community bed that you can use just for those retail outlets. You could also do some like online farm producer trainings, things like that. There's a lot of ideas out there that would apply to our priorities and goals. So now we get to do a preview of the application. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit here. So it's currently not open, as I mentioned before. It's going to open on Monday. So this is just some background information that I've already gone over during the webinar. Of course, we're going to need the like the point of contact. So your first name, last name, email address, phone number, and then we want to focus on the project. So, what is the name of your project that you're applying for? We need a thorough narrative outlining the scope of your project and the outcomes you anticipate. Don't be fooled by this single line here. You can type a full paragraph in here, two paragraphs. It is okay, like you don't have to fit it into one line. Be thorough so that we know what you're talking about. We also want to know which organizations are involved, if it's just one organization or if you have multiple, and what are their responsibilities. So if you're partnering with the Extension Office, they are offering you space to host your meetings or whatever it is you're going to do. We want to know which organizations are involved and what they're doing on this project. We also want to have all the active participants by name. So list everybody's names and what their responsibilities are so we know who's going to be doing what work. And then we want to know which working group your application fits within. So like we said, we went through the priorities and goals. So you do have to pick one. It's not a multiple. We know there's some overlap, and it could apply to one or the other, but pick the one that is best aligned with your project. And then we'll also ask you to discuss how your project advances the priorities or goals. And this does link to that document that I was reviewing earlier with the priorities and goals on it. And then we also want you to tell us how it aligns with the mission, vision, values of Homegrown Hillsborough. And again, those are linked here so that you know what they are. And so we do want you to let us know how it's aligned. And then we also need to know the budget of your program. So how much funding are you requesting? Again, please only request the amount needed for your project budget, with that being up to $2,000. So if you only need $500, only apply for $500. But if you can find $2,000 worth of stuff that you need right away for this project, great. We also need a budget narrative to tell us how you're going to use those funds. So including the dollar amounts for personnel, program supplies, equipment, contracted services, marketing, communications, training, literally everything you need. Tell us how every single dollar is going to be accounted for. Again, that does fit in here. You can just do a list, type it, comma, next item, comma, go that way. And then if your personnel costs are over 25% of the fundings, you need to justify that to us. So we are willing to pay for personnel costs for less than 25%. But if you need more than that, you just have to justify it here in your application. And then for continuity, we want to know how will this investment sustain your organization or operations? So tell us how it's going to help you in the long run. And then we also want to identify at least two potential additional funding sources for future stages of this project. So that doesn't mean for this specific project that you're doing right now, like you don't need two additional funding to match our funding or anything like that. But in future stages of this project, how are you going to fund it? So you can utilize the Homegrown Hillsborough Handbook, which is linked here, where there's a lot of funding opportunities listed. And that's a pretty large document. So you can go through, there's several pages of different grant opportunities through the different sectors and then general grants. So do a little bit of hunting to see how you can fund this project in the future or future stages of the project. And then we also want to know the target audience. Who's your audience and why are they your target audience? And how many people you estimate this project will impact. So that goes back to the rubric, like Monica mentioned. You don't have to calculate this, we'll calculate it, but we will need to know an estimate of how many people it's going to impact. And then finally, we want to know about your partner points. So they'll be added up by the HH staff in that tracker that Monica talked about. If you need to know more about partner points and you maybe missed the post we made about it, there's a whole video that you can watch to learn more about it. And if you attended an event and your points aren't reflected on the form or on the tracking sheet, make sure to complete the form. So this last question is just to tell you that you are responsible for ensuring your partner points are correct. You must complete the form linked above in order to receive partner points for attending an event. And if you believe you're missing a point, reach out to our team ASAP. Again, do not wait until the last minute before the application closes. I'm not adding extra partner points to your thing on August 1st at 10 p.m. So make sure that your stuff is correct before the deadline. Don't wait until the last minute. And then we just want to get like a confirmation that you understand above. You say yes. And if you don't, you need to reach out to us after you submit it so that we can make sure it gets corrected. So that is the last section of the application here. So that's your preview. Again, it opens on Monday. All right. That is my uh slideshow. So I think we're ready to open for questions, unless Monica, you have anything to add before I do that.
No, I think you did a great job.
Awesome. All right. Ready for questions. You can put them in the chat, raise your hand, anything that way. Okay, I see in the chat, Kitty wants to know, how do you find your partner points? So it is linked in the application, as well as there is a post. Well, I don't know if the document is linked on your post on the platform, Monica, but it is in the application.
I'm pretty sure it is linked, but I will
Okay.
hop on the platform right now and check that.
Okay. And you could also like maybe could go in the resources on the platform, like
Yeah.
a quick link to partner points would be a good
Yeah.
spot. Any other questions? All right. So
Edward Diaz asked, how do I get an idea if my concepts meet your goals before I put the package together?
So you would want to look at those prior that sh document that I opened. It's on the application, and it is the like working group priorities and goals. It's linked on the app, so that you can open it and take a look at them. You can also look into the meeting minutes from our previous working group meetings, which are on the partner platform on each page, each working group page, there's a resources tab that has our links. We also have the meetings recorded. The working group meetings are recorded, so you can go on YouTube. They are 2 hours long, so you kind of have to scroll through. Um, okay, and that is located on the partner online partner platform, which you can access by going to platform.homegrownhillsboro.com. And if you don't have an account, you got to make one. And I see Kitty also asked what is the link for Homegrown Hillsboro. For all of our links, you can go to connect.homegrownhillsboro.com, or for the platform, you can go to platform.homegrownhillsboro.com. That is also there on the link tree. So I'll type it in the chat as well. So you can just click it.
Platform.homegrownhillsboro.com is how you can access the platform, but connect.homegrownhillsboro.com has everything, all of our links for everything. If you are on, I encourage you to bookmark it. That's the easiest way to get to it, is to bookmark it.
Yep. Can the grant be used to obtain funding to apply for an LLC, or does it already need to be active in order to apply for this grant? What do you think about that, Monica?
That would need to be a very strong application that shows a definite kind of future of partnership. So, I I think it does kind of fit the essence of what we're trying to do, but we would want to see in the application a very, very strong connection to the rest of the work. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities, but I would definitely encourage that to be something that you go to a working group meeting to get those connections and to talk about the future and to make those commitments. Awesome. Thanks, Tiffany. Um, uh, so I'm an American Legion post that is using some of our funds to start this project. Um, I'm not sure what that means, Edward. If you want to come off mute and maybe explain, that might make it easier. While we wait for Edward to kind of explain or Des Watts asks, if you have your LLC, will you still have to partner with a nonprofit? My project is a small home project. Well, so if your project is a home project that doesn't benefit the community, then that would be not necessarily the essence of this. If you are an LLC and you're applying as the LLC, then that would be reimbursement, like Savannah said. So after your project is completed and delivered and you've reached all those goals, then you would get reimbursed. Versus for nonprofits, we can provide the money up front. So it does. I want to give my food away and not sell it. So once again, I just really think that that is ripe for partnership. I think there's a lot of food banks and food access groups that are already in our network that do that work. I know there's healthcare providers. I know that there's lots of access points that would be interested and partnering with you on this. And so maybe just to demonstrate proof of concept, you partner with them and figure that out. But this is why we're kind of encouraging everyone to come to these July meetings, is to see who else is interested in this work and to see how you can partner on it. Once again, the application might be worth filling out as long as you make a really strong case for how this benefits the community. I guess an LLC. If you're going to give away food, I'm not sure how that's revenue generating. So, you just have to kind of justify all of that and explain it. Great.
And I'd like to also kind of stress too that we're asking for future stages. So if it's like an ongoing project, that would be helpful too. So not just
Right.
like a one-time project.
Right. Exactly. Okay. Kitty's still kind of stuck on, so Kitty, you're adding an extra dot. So
Yep.
it's platform dot homegrownhillsboro.com. Great. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so platform.homegrownhillsboro.com. And once again, I would highly encourage you to bookmark that. Um, does anybody else have any questions? Once again, if you are someone that is interested in helping shape the food production goals, you can tune in and kind of help influence that at the meeting next week. And then the July meetings are a great time to come and discuss your ideas, find other partners, work on the application together. I think that it's not crazy to think that you could leave that meeting with an application that's submitted. Um, so yeah.
Okay, here are those dates again.
Great. Well, if nobody else has any questions, then we're gonna go ahead and probably sign off and get this posted. And Savannah, do you know if you collected emails for the registration for the Zoom?
I'm pretty sure it does
Okay.
automatically do that.
Yeah, and so we can send out this recording to anybody who registered for it. And then Kitty, they are the meetings. I don't know if the videos are posted on the platform, but we
There
will.
is
Oh, go
So
on.
there's a link under each like working group page under resources that links you to the YouTube playlist for each of the meetings for
Perfect.
the
So I,
recordings.
I guess Savannah, maybe can you share your screen and just show
Sure.
that real quick? Yeah.
Yes, let me go back over here. Okay, I'll escape this if I can. Okay, so here on our platform, on the left-hand side, you have our working groups. So I'll go to food access, go to resources here, and then click on meeting recordings. and that's going to take me to the YouTube playlist. And you can see it shows you here the working group meetings. So you can click here to see those recordings. And it's the same for all of them. So if you want to go just to the Homegrown Hillsborough YouTube page and click on playlists, you can see we have our food production, food access, economic development. And then I'll also post this one separately as a video. Um, I don't think it'll be listed under any of the programs, but to go back, it's under resources of each working group page. So if you go to economic development and go to resources, same thing, quick links, meeting recordings, and it'll take you to the YouTube recordings playlist so you can watch all the meetings.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. One more kind of opportunity for anybody to hop in, ask any questions. If a person did not register for this workshop, can they still get the info and watch the recording? Well, so we're gonna send it out to everybody who did register. So Kitty, you will get a link to this, and then also we will post it on our YouTube. And we'll make an announcement in the platform as well. Yeah. So is the link the same as the Mobilize app? So when you say app, I don't know if you're talking about app on your phone or app on your browser. But the link that we provided, the platform.homegrownhillsborough.com. Yeah, so the phone is a little trickier and harder to use. So I would encourage you to open it on your computer for the platform.homegrownhillsborough.com. Yeah, awesome. Great. And I definitely do see a lot of new names here. So I hope that this will encourage new people to come into the network. And we have a lot of really good things already in play. And this is a cool time to really work together and start doing these little investments so we can get ready for bigger investments. And so we'll send out this recording and we look forward to seeing your applications roll in. And hopefully we look forward to seeing you at the July meetings where we can kind of, workshop, brainstorm, collaborate, things like that.
All right. And don't forget to send me an email or message me on the platform so that we can get you on the agenda so that you have some time otherwise. Yeah, we'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.